When we hear about corruption in procurement, our minds usually jump to a few bad apples. But what if the problem isn't the apples at all? What if it's the design of the barrel they're in? Today, we're going to dig into the architecture of integrity. We're going to move past just blaming people and really look at how the system itself can be designed to either fail or to guarantee fairness. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to bust the big myth about what corruption actually looks like. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how integrity really erodes. After that, I'll give you 5 key red flags to look for, and we'll talk about how to actually design for integrity using a solid governance framework. And we'll wrap it all up with why the system, not the people, is the real solution here. So first things first, we have to challenge what we think we know. Because the Hollywood version of corruption, it's almost never how it goes down in the real world. Just take a second and picture it. What comes to mind? Are you seeing a shady deal in a back alley, a briefcase full of cash? Yeah, that's what we all think of. But the truth is usually a lot quieter, a lot more subtle, and frankly, a lot more dangerous. Now look at this. This really gets to the heart of it. The myth is all about big, deliberate, dramatic actions. But the reality, it's the slow, quiet decay of the process. It's not a secret deal. It's a practical exception made because someone's in a hurry. For instance, maybe an engineer on your team knows a specific product works really well, so they tweak a technical requirement just a little to match that product. They're not trying to be corrupt, they think they're ensuring quality, but that one tiny change might just lock out every other competitor. And over time, those little harmless exceptions, they add up. And that's exactly how it happens. It's not some sudden event. It's a slippery slope, where every single step down seems totally logical and justifiable in the moment. And this is absolutely crucial. We have to stop hunting for that one big mistake or that one person to blame. The problem is almost always systemic. It's like having tiny, invisible cracks in a foundation that just get bigger and bigger over time until the whole thing is unstable. So let's just walk through how this path typically unfolds. It starts with an urgent need, right? So you bypass the full competitive process, just this once. Then, hey, it worked out okay, so next time you use that same supplier again because it's just easier, it's convenient. And then the specs start to creep. They get adjusted just enough to perfectly fit what that one supplier offers. Before you know it, you've stopped checking market prices altogether because, well, things seem fine. See, no single step felt corrupt, but the end result is exactly the same. Competition is dead, and you've lost all objectivity. So how in the world do you spot this kind of decay before it's a full-blown crisis? Well, the good news is there are common patterns to watch for. These are the red flags that tell you your system's integrity is getting weak. Okay, here are the 5 big ones to watch out for. Specification bias, that's rigging the game before it even starts. Then there's repeated single bidder outcomes, a huge sign that you have no real competition. Bid leakage, that's when inside info gets out and gives one supplier an unfair edge. Number 4 is change order inflation, where a really low bid magically balloons in cost after the contract is signed. And finally, familiarity dependence. Now this one's a little different from specification bias. Spec bias is actively writing rules to help someone win. Familiarity dependence is more passive. It's choosing the person you already know out of comfort, even if the rules were fair. But here is the absolute key to all of this. These red flags, they're usually symptoms of a system under stress, not signs of malicious people. Think about it. Intense pressure for speed, sloppy documentation, putting way too much power in one person's hands. That's the environment where these patterns just naturally start to grow. So enough about the problem. Let's start talking about the solution. Because if the problem is structural, guess what? The solution has to be structural too. This is where we stop chasing individuals and start architecting a better system with really strong governance. This right here is the fundamental shift in thinking we all need to make. We have to build our processes to shield decisions from our own biases and from external pressures. It's about designing a system that's so robust that it just naturally guides everyone toward a fair outcome, making integrity the path of least resistance. And one of the most powerful design principles you can use is the separation of duties. Just think of it like a sport. You have one team that defines what is needed. They set the rules and lay out the playing field. Then you have a completely separate, independent team that assesses how well the bidders met those needs. They're the referees. This simple split makes it almost impossible for the people writing the rules to favor one specific player. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, these 5 actions are basically your blueprint. First, you separate those roles we just talked about. Second, you lock in your evaluation criteria before a single bid is opened. No moving the goalposts later. Third, you review any changes to a contract with the exact same intensity as the original award. You also have to rotate staff responsibilities. If the same person handles the same contracts for years and years, they can get too comfortable. Rotation brings in a fresh pair of eyes. And finally, you monitor supplier concentration. You use data to see if you're slowly becoming dependent on just one or two suppliers, a huge sign that competition is fading away. So all of this leads us to one really powerful conclusion. If you want real integrity, you have to build it directly into the fabric of your operations. I want to just let this sink in because it is so critical. Trust is great, but trust is not a control system. A truly well-designed system doesn't need you to trust any single individual. It's built to produce a fair outcome by default, no matter who's running the process on any given day. That's the goal. And remember, this isn't about creating a bunch of red tape. Strong, transparent systems are like a shield. They absolutely protect the organization from risk, but they also protect the honest, hard-working professionals inside it by giving them a clear, defensible process to follow, especially when the pressure is on. So, I'll leave you with one final question to think about. When you look at your own organization, is its integrity built on the hope that good people will do the right thing? Or is it actually built by design to make fairness the easiest and most natural outcome? Because honestly, the answer to that question makes all the difference in the world.